At this point, you've completed your first practice exam, or at least a section of it here. In this case, I'm looking at English. And I highly encourage you to make a piece of paper like this, one where you're keeping track of how you're doing on each practice exam, on each section as you go, so that you can see your improvement. And we've also calculated at this point the number of errors that we've gotten. So here I can see that total I got 14 questions wrong, and 9 of them were because I moved too slowly. 2 of them were questions that I didn't know the actual answer to, and 3 of them were questions that I was too careless. If I took a second time, I would have known the answer. So now we want to ask, what's our score? What would our score have been? Well, in this link that I gave you before to the answers, you may have already seen down at the bottom, there is a scale score conversion table. And this will allow you to look up what your ACT score would be based on the number of questions that you got correct. It'll be an estimate, not exactly perfect. And so follow that link and you can look at this, but let's look at it together. We can see that on the English exam, there are a total of 75 questions. That's the top number in each of these columns are the total number of questions on a section of the exam. And I got 14 wrong. So we can figure out how many I got correct just by taking 75 minus 14. And the total there is 61. And so 61 questions I got correct. And if we go back to this answer key, sorry, I'm bopping around, in the column under English, if I go down, I see this range from 61 to 62, and that corresponds to a scale score, which means your ACT score, of a 27. So my score right now, if I had just taken this exam for real, would be a 27 on the ACT in the English portion of the exam. Now I can look, now is when it becomes really important to figure out, well, how did these 14 that I got wrong, what breaks them down? And it turns out most of them are actually because I was too slow. I ran out of time at the end of the exam. If I had not run out of time, if I had finished everything and gotten these correct instead, then I would have only missed 3 plus 2 problems, my carelessness and didn't know, a total of 5 problems on the exam. And out of the 75 total problems there were, I actually would have gotten a total of 70 correct. And if we go back to this table, that's a huge improvement in my score. That would have corresponded, here is 70, corresponds to a 32 on the ACT. So I could improve a whole lot just by focusing on going a little faster. And we'll talk in future videos about some strategies to do that, but one of the best strategies is just by taking another exam. So now that I know this is a problem that I have and that it's an important one, I'm going to take, actually we'll just say, take exam. Just take another one. And if I take another exam, I'll actually go faster. That'll solve a lot of the too slow problems. It will also solve a lot of my problems with carelessness just by getting another practice. Now there's a couple more problems here I had where I actually didn't know the answer. That's a small part of those. And so I'll also do videos in the future that explain some of the questions that are hard to get. But I think a really important point here at this point in your test taking is to realize where you're at. So right now, I'm at a 27, and to realize what you can do to improve the most. And for me, the thing that I can do to improve is to try to go a little faster when I take the exam.